Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Apollo Justice. We are trying to figure out what Olga is hiding at this point, but it looks like Olga might have been also hit by that bottle of grape juice, I believe. But anyway, we're trying to figure out if it's true or not, so let us continue. I think we are pressing. You seemed uneasy. You try sitting up here. Her eyes are darting all over the place. I must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like? Well, he must have been stunned by the weight of the crime. He sat in a daze at that table until the cops came. Intriguing. I believe you've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So, what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think. Her testimony is not fine. Is basically bogus. It contradicts the evidence. What's that?
Well, show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. This evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony.
She didn't let him out of her sight until the cops got there. Oops. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that.
Gee, I don't know. Let's present Wright's cell phone.
Miss O'Reilly, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So, explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely.
Oh, nice selfie.
The man who picked up a bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant.
It wasn't? Then who was it?
Showdown time. You dirty cheat! Check its pockets now! It's gone! The card's gone! Ah! Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to Wright. And he hit me.
Smith?
You...
Oh god, the text went so fast.
Ah! When I came to,
the victim was already dead. Is that it?
That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure.
Well, where does this leave us?
Madness! This is madness! I'm dreaming! It must have been me who was hit with the bottle. I'm imagining all of this.
It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end, and frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events?
Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss O'Reilly a big fat liar. What? 3 were in that room the night of the murder. The defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? Her plot foiled. The witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouement of that argument was murder. What? I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me.
What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive.
Did you just make a rhyme?
So tangled, we catch ourselves in the process.
Mr. Wright?
Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin.
What are you saying?
Why not consider the other possibility? that there was another person in the room at the time of the murder.
Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess.
A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. And the one who swapped the card didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person.
Ha! This theory again. Your fourth person doesn't exist.
Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal.
The real criminal?
And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less.
Oh shit. It really is Kristoff then. What?
Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about?
Sorry.
Remember what I said. The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error.
He or she wasn't considering the color on the backs of the cards.
Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there's one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue.
Yeah, I had that impression too. But why?
Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was?
It's not me, I swear!
Who is this fourth person?
Why do I always get put on the spot like this?
Well, you are a defense attorney. In an Ace Attorney game.
Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue?
Well, it's already over him, so...
As I expected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair.
I was right?
Kristoff Gavin, you were the fourth person that night.
But, of course Mr. Gavin knows the colors of the cards.
How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor or the table.
But look! You can see the colors in this photo.
Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before the evidence came to light.
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet it was only that, a game, in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. I knew it.
Well, Kristoff?
Mr. Gavin?
Mr. Gavin, is something the matter?
No, nothing. Excuse me. It was just so sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you?
Oh, Kristoff? You know even I'd never take a joke this far.
This has gone beyond ridiculous! Beyond dumb! This is insanity! The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder!
I assure you, I'm quite sane.
But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim?
I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either.
Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met!
Well, what if they have?
Huh?
There is a possibility, after all. They may have met that night, before the game started.
What are you suggesting?
Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the... The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before that game of poker be related?
I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin.
As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly...
Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you.
Oh, shit.
Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you.
Oh, okay.
Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony?
I'm sorry, Kristoff. This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along, and I intend to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. Justice, you would betray me, your teacher. I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth.
You sure taught him well, Kristoff. Very well, the defendant. Mr. Wright will take the stand, please.
Again. Appetite before murder. Okay.
That evening, Kristoff and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Kristoff left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin.
Mr. Gavin, you were at the Bush Bowl Club the night of the murder?
I dined with him rather frequently.
And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder.
Quite against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him.
You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial.
The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now.
I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong.
Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness.
Justice. Sir, he's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Oh, Paula, you're in for a lot of terrible things in your future. Alright, now we're going to press on everything. Except for one statement. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin?
Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot, as usual.
Usual.
I always eat at the table closest to the piano.
I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting.
So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner?
Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Kristoff. We dined for 2 hours, then Kristoff left. After that...
5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time.
That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure.
Oh, Mr. Wright, what was it you said? Kristoff Gavin and Shady Smith may have met.
I believe I did say that.
Here I was, all nervous about this meeting. And now we hear they just passed in the hall?
That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder.
Oh, it would be, if that was all that really happened.
Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? Okay, passing that. You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, right?
Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout.
Was anyone else on the first floor at that time?
Not a soul. It was the middle of the night, after all. So there, in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone.
And when you returned, the victim was already...
Dead, yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in.
A little?
He was bleeding from his forehead, after all.
I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that. Could you explain why you called Mr. Galvin?
I'd obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair, and I figured Kristoff's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees.
Ah, glad to hear you intend to pay.
Oh, I'll pay in full, Kristoff. It was I who got you involved, after all.
You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, you know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him. Now. Yes, sir. I have to think. What's Mr. Wright trying to tell me with this testimony? The truth has to be in there somewhere. Alright, we're pressing here about the trap. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga O'Reilly mentioned. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Mr. Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards! Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces.
Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it.
A quirk?
I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card.
The card she planted?
Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game.
Disposed? Where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice I'd been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle.
An empty bottle of grape juice! The murder weapon!
Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see.
A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like terrific drama.
A card inside the murder weapon. That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look.
Mr. Wright, the poker head of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information. Alright, well, I need to examine the bottle first somehow. Whoa, what? Oh, come on, computer. Why'd you do that?
Tysa, I'll have you know that I thought my computer did something when that happened. Thanks.
The bottle is completely empty.
There's nothing here. Let me see if I should present this here. Oh, okay. Alright, so why does the bottle not have a card?
Mr. Wright, if I may.
Yes?
I've examined the bottle, and I don't see any card in here.
No? No? Sound of ellipses.
What, Mr. Wright? Surely, An ellipse isn't all you have to say for yourself.
I can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however.
Huh?
Perhaps a fifth person came and took it out? Oh, and a sixth person could have helped. Mr. Galvin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor.
I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside that bottle. There was nothing. So what's going on? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear?
In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence.
Oh.
Push him harder, Justice. Break him.
Whoa, Kristoff, calm down!
It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO.
Ugh, why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore?
Most definitely not. At least Kristoff isn't. Jesus.
He wants him dead!
Cut from his forehead. Alright, what are we presenting here? Present the first crime photo.
Mr. Wright, if I may.
Yes?
Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead.
Good point.
Okay, go right. Jesus Christ, Wright.
Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court?
Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put that hat on his head.
Huh? You?
You put the hat on the dead man's head.
He wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police, when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining brightly, just like in this photograph.
And?
I picked his hat up off the floor and put it on his head.
What? Why'd you do a thing like that?
All I can say is, I'm sorry. But that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene.
My God, this is such shady testimony.
So Miss O'Reilly didn't see it. It being the victim's, his head.
I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head.
Ah, here we go again.
Mr. Galvin?
Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case.
Hey, he's still our client, isn't he?
I believe that's enough of that.
Mr. Galvin?
This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago.
Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew.
I believe it was you who threw the first stone.
Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never.
Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here.
Huh?
When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well.
A reason?
That reason is right here.
Your cell phone?
That night, recall that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation.
What's this?
Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court.
Oh, shit.
Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble.
What's this? Game not going well?
Something like that.
That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good?
He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him hard.
You mean someone cracked that flawless China pate? What the heck is this? Oh, I can't English right now. Is it Bona or just bone China pate? I don't know. Whatever. Christoph, please. Was it you, was it?
Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that.
Bone China plate? Plate? I saw pate! Where was the L?
A kind of porcelain. Very smooth and shiny. And not plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead.
The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So, after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club.
Most certainly.
Then how did he know? When did he see this bone China pate? Pate? Oh, that's right!
Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court? Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head?
So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on.
Your point, Mr. Gavin?
It's come down to this, has it, Phoenix Wright? Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne!
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear defense attorney Gavin's testimony?
Well, as the prosecutor,
Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes. After which, Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Oh, shit. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well, this will be a final recess for the day.
3 recesses in 1 case. This is only the first case, too, and I have to stop soon. Damn it. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who'd have thought today would turn out like this? May I? Trucy! Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please, pick a card. Well, what's this all about? Is this okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all.
An ace? Where do I remember that card from? And there's a blood stain on it.
Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. That was cheating. I swear to you. The missing 5th ace. Wait, this blotch of red. Is this blood? You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it.
Oh, I gotta find a voice for Trucy again. It's been a while.
This blood-stained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl, I'd seen her recently, but where? That's when I made the connection.
Phoenix Wright's Little Magician. Oh. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Well, this is really awkward. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, the witness state his name and occupation.
Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Very true! Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? Well, we're gonna have to stop here and figure that out in the next video, because we are out of time now. So, we shall interrogate Christoph in the next video.